Podcast Talk.
Learn English naturally.
How people actually answer simple questions. Hey everyone, welcome back to Podcast Talks on OffScript English. We're really happy you're here today. If you're listening to this, it means you're already improving your English just by listening, just by being here. So take a breath, relax, and let's enjoy a real conversation together.
Hey guys, welcome back. And yes, Emily is right. Real progress in English doesn't come from memorizing rules. It comes from listening to real conversations like this. So thank you for choosing to spend this time with us today.
And before we start, don't forget to subscribe to OffScript English and please write a comment. Tell us what topic you'd like us to talk about next. Your ideas really help us shape these episodes.
So today we're talking about something very simple, but very important. How people actually answer simple questions in real life. Because what you learn in textbooks and what people say in real conversations, those are often two very different things.
Exactly. Think about how often someone asks you a simple question like, "How are you?" It sounds easy, right? But in real life, people almost never answer it the way textbooks teach.
Yeah, no one really says, "I am fine, thank you," and "you" anymore. People answer depending on their mood, their energy, and the situation. Sometimes short, sometimes honest, sometimes very vague.
And that's what makes real English interesting. It's not perfect. It's emotional, sometimes messy, and very human. And today we want to help you understand those real answers.
Let's start with the most common question in the world. How are you? Because this question alone can be answered in at least 20 different ways. And most of them are never explained in lessons.
Sometimes people answer honestly, sometimes they answer politely, and sometimes they answer without really answering at all. And all of those answers are normal.
And this is important to understand as a learner. If someone gives you a short or unclear answer, it doesn't mean you did something wrong. It usually just means they're human.
That's why listening to conversations like this really helps. You start to feel the rhythm of real English, not perfect sentences, but natural ones.
And over time, you stop translating in your head. You stop searching for the correct answer. You start responding naturally.
And that's a huge step forward. If you're at this stage and of course even close, you're doing really well. So be proud of that.
So let's look at some real-life answers people use every day. Answers you'll hear at work, with friends, or even with strangers. And we'll explain what they really mean.
And as you listen, don't try to memorize everything. Just listen. Notice the tone, the pauses, the emotions. That's how real English lives.
And remember, even native speakers don't always know what to say. Pauses, hesitation, short answers, that's all part of communication.
So, if you ever feel awkward answering a simple question in English, relax. You're not doing it wrong. You're just learning how people really speak.
And that's exactly what OffScript English is about. Real conversations, real language, no scripts.
We're really glad you're here with us. Listening, learning, and growing step by step. It means a lot to us.
And just one more thing before we move on. If you're listening to this right now, you're already doing something really good for your English. You're training your ear, your intuition, and your confidence. So take a moment to be proud of yourself and keep listening.
All right, let's move on. Now we're going to look at how people answer simple questions depending on how they feel, because the same question can sound very different when you're tired, busy, happy, or not in the mood to talk. And this is something learners really need to hear.
Let's take another very common question people hear all the time. What's up? It sounds extremely simple, but in real life, it almost never means tell me everything. Most of the time, it's just a casual way to start a conversation.
And that's why answers to what's up are usually short. People don't explain, they don't go into details. They answer lightly just to keep the conversation moving.
Very often, the answer is something like, not much, or nothing special. And that doesn't mean nothing is happening. It just means the person is keeping things casual.
Now let's look at another simple question. Are you busy? This question is often not about your schedule. It's about whether this is a good moment to talk.
So let's stay with what's up a little longer because this question confuses a lot of learners. Many people think they need to explain their situation or give real news. But in everyday English, what's up is usually just a friendly check in. It's more about connection than information.
And this is a really important point to understand. When someone asks, "What's up?" they usually don't expect a story. They expect something light, simple, and easy. So, short answers are not rude. They are actually the most natural choice here.
If you're not sure what to say, it helps to remember a simple rule. For what's up, you can answer with your situation, your mood, or nothing specific at all. For example, like not much, same as always, or even just chilling. All of these answers are perfectly normal.
And here's a small but helpful tip. You don't need to translate these answers in your head. You don't need to think what they mean word by word. Just remember how they feel. Relaxed, casual, and friendly.
This is how real English works. People don't look for perfect answers, they look for comfortable ones. And once you understand that, simple questions like, what's up? Stop feeling stressful.
All right, let's move to another very common, simple question. Are you busy? This question sounds direct, but in real life, it's usually very polite. People often ask it not because they want your schedule, but because they want to respect your time.
And this is where many learners misunderstand the question. They think they need to answer with details. But most of the time, are you busy really means, is this a good moment to talk? That's all.
That's why answers to this question are usually very soft. People say things like, a little, kind of, or not really. These answers don't close the conversation. They simply show your situation.
Here's a helpful tip. If you want to keep the conversation open, avoid very strong answers. You don't need, yes, I'm extremely busy, or no, I'm completely free. Staying somewhere in the middle sounds more natural.
And this middle space is very important in everyday English. People like flexibility. They like leaving room to change their mind, so soft answers help conversations feel relaxed and human.
Now, let's look at another simple question. How's work? This question often sounds personal, but it's usually just small talk. People are not asking for a full story.
Because of that, answers to "how's work" are often short and general. People say things like, "It's fine," "pretty busy," or "same as usual." These answers keep things light and easy.
A good thing to remember here is this. You don't need to be interesting. You don't need details. You just need to sound comfortable. That's what people expect in everyday conversations.
And if you actually want to share more, you can. But it should feel like a choice, not an obligation. Real English gives you that freedom. You decide how much you want to say.
So the key idea here is simple. Simple questions don't need big answers. They need natural ones. And once you understand this, everyday conversations become much easier.
Let's look at another question people use a lot in real conversations. You good? This one is very casual and very American. You'll hear it a lot in places like New York, especially between friends, coworkers, or people who already know each other.
What's interesting about you good is that it can mean different things. Sometimes it means, are you okay? Sometimes it means, do you need anything? And sometimes it simply means, everything fine? The meaning depends on the situation and the tone.
And this is where many learners feel confused, because grammatically, the question looks incomplete. But in real spoken English, this is completely normal. People shorten questions to sound faster and more relaxed.
So, how do you answer you good? Most of the time, very simply. Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. Or even just, yeah. Short answers work perfectly here.
But here's something important. The tone matters more than the words. A calm yeah sounds fine. A quiet or hesitant yeah can sound like something is wrong. And people notice that.
Now let's move to another question that sounds polite but can feel a bit serious. Everything all right? This one is often used when someone notices something feels off.
This question is not always casual. Sometimes it's real concern. Sometimes it's professional, like at work. And sometimes it's just polite attention. Context is everything here.
And because of that, answers to everything all right are usually a bit more complete. People often say, yeah, everything's fine, or yeah, just a long day. These answers reassure the other person.
Here's a useful tip for learners. If someone asks, everything all right, and you don't want to go into details, adding a small reason is enough. You don't need a full explanation.
So again, the idea stays the same. Simple questions don't demand perfect answers. They need natural ones. Once you feel that, questions like, you good? Or everything all right? Start feeling much easier.
Let's keep this flowing and look at a question that feels very natural in big cities. What's going on? You'll hear it a lot in places like New York. It sounds casual, but it often shows real interest in the moment.
What's going on is not always about news. Most of the time it means something feels different. What's happening? It can be curiosity, concern, or simple attention. The tone tells you everything.
That's why answers here are usually short but meaningful. People say things like, oh, just work stuff, or nothing serious. These answers keep things honest without oversharing.
Here's a helpful idea. If you're not ready to talk, you can soften your answer. Adding words like just, a bit, or nothing major helps you stay polite and comfortable at the same time.
Now, let's look at a question that sounds very caring. You all right there? This one is often used when someone notices your body language or mood. It's quiet concern, not pressure.
When someone asks this, they're not asking for details, they're checking in. So answers like, yeah, I'm okay, or yeah, just thinking are more than enough.
And this is important for learners to hear. You don't owe anyone a full explanation. English gives you many polite ways to stay private. Learning these small phrases gives you confidence.
Notice how all these questions have something in common. They're simple, they're short, and they focus on connection, not information. That's the heart of everyday English.
Once you understand this, you stop feeling nervous about answering. You realize you're allowed to be brief. You're allowed to be human. And that changes everything.
And this is why listening matters so much. You're not just learning phrases, you're learning how conversations feel. And that's what helps English become natural for you.
Now, let's talk about moments when you don't really want to talk at all. Not because something is wrong, but because you're tired, distracted, or just need space. This happens to everyone, and English has very gentle ways to handle it.
In situations like this, people rarely say, I don't want to talk. That sounds too direct. Instead, they use small, polite phrases that protect their space without creating tension.
For example, phrases like, just a lot on my mind, or it's been a long day, say enough without saying too much. They close the topic softly.
What's important here is intention. You're not being rude, you're simply setting a boundary. And in everyday English, this is completely normal and respected.
Many learners think they must always continue a conversation. But real communication also includes knowing when to pause. Silence, short answers, and soft phrases are part of fluency too.
This is something native speakers do naturally. They listen to the moment, they adjust their answers, and they don't force conversations when the timing feels wrong.
And the good news is, you don't need perfect English to do this. You just need awareness. Understanding how simple questions really work gives you that freedom.
So when you hear a simple question, don't panic. Don't search for the perfect sentence. Think about how you feel and choose something natural.
This is how English slowly becomes part of you, not through pressure, but through comfort. Not through rules, but through real moments like these.
And if you're listening to this episode all the way through, that already says a lot. It means you care about understanding, not just speaking, and that's a strong place to be.
We really appreciate you spending this time with us. Learning a language takes patience, and choosing content like this is a great step forward.
And remember, every time you listen, you train your ear. You build intuition, and little by little, English starts to feel natural.
If you're enjoying these conversations, make sure you subscribe to OffScript English. It really helps us grow and create more episodes like this.
And feel free to leave a comment. Tell us what topic you'd like us to talk about next. We read them, and they inspire future episodes. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.